And if you listen to what basically people with globalist agendas have been speaking about for probably longer than we've been alive, actually, they basically need to completely change the world.
Yeah.
They need to get rid of fossil fuels. They need to get rid of capitalism, basically. They need to change the entire nature of our reality to what they're envisioning as this kind of green future.
Yeah.
And even, Mr. Klaus Schwab says, oh, there will be pain. He said people will be very angry because, and even our government, and this is what blows my mind, people don't know this, is their stated intentions is to shut down the oil and gas industry, which, hey, I would say fantastic. Get rid of pollution, man. Green it up. But the alternative they're offering is just as bad.
Yeah.
And it's just as bad for the environment, but it's more control for them.
Which alternatives are you talking about here?
I would say mining lithium for batteries, and trying to, because there are technologies out there that are better. They just completely ignore it.
Yeah.
Because it has to, when it really comes down to this, it has to do with global control.
Yeah.
How do we control the markets? How do we control the population? Right now, the world is controlled through oil. We have the petrodollar. Everything is determined with energy.
Yeah.
Our money is determined with energy. Every technology is determined. So we have a cap on resources because of how much energy we can use. Yeah. So if someone says, oh, man, I can't wait for free energy to come around. Well, the moment that you get free energy is the moment we start raping the earth even more. Because you will have unlimited energy to take what you want now.
Yeah, so you're kind of bringing that up in the sense of like, if energy was super available, but then it were to be offered to our current culture, what would happen would be just a consumption that is beyond what we even are seeing today, as opposed to what people want is how this could free up society.
Yes. Yes. And like right now, we have alternatives to fuel.
Yeah.
You remember that car from Germany and Switzerland called the Quant E vehicle? It's a vehicle that runs on salt water.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember
came
that.
out 2015, 2016. And technology's there.
Yeah.
It works.
It works.
I just read an article the other day where they're putting solar panels on a car, and this electric vehicle could run 7 months without being plugged in.
Yeah.
But then again, you have to mine the batteries. You know how disgusting the mining it's like, what's worse, mining for coal or mining for lithium? I would say the same level. I would say that lithium's far worse because it's extremely toxic to the environment, especially batteries afterwards.
Yeah.
The windmills, how much
nonsense,
how much energy has to be put into actually creating that resource to get the metals to build those things. They're massive.
Yeah.
Massive. So,
and they break down constantly.
And so, back to the globalist idea is that the pain that we're going to see is they're going to be removing oil and gas from our society, which means the prices of everything are going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
It's going to limit our mobility. Food is going to be very scarce, and it's going to be a scary future, but they haven't offered an alternative.
Right.
And if they said, we're going to get batteries and solar panels and all that, that is not an alternative. That's saying we're going to have years of rolling blackouts.
Yeah.
We need to first be willing to look at technologies. And there's technologies right now that, are even based off of Tesla's technology.
Yeah.
They work, companies use them, they're just not talked about. There's a company close to here, actually, actually, I think it might actually be in the city where we're talking in right now. It's a wastewater site or wastewater management plant. And they have a technology in there where they use an electrical oscillation from like a Tesla coil. So it's a frequency of electricity that goes into the wastewater. And when the electricity goes into the wastewater, it separates
hydrogen in the oxygen.
It separates the nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, and it actually separates the wastewater. So it purifies the water.
Yeah.
Right? But the gas that it's producing
can be used for energy.
Is not only used for energy, it's powering the plant. Okay, so this machine that's cleaning the wastewater is powering the plant, and it's creating so much electricity that it's sending electricity out to the grid, and the company is getting paid for producing electricity.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that I've heard of examples of technologies like that. It's almost like an electrolysis essentially, and I think it's these stories. I mean, most people, let's say that have their belief and their faith within the system, they hear that and they go, well, no, if that was really happening, right, we would have heard it on CBC or CTV. And if that was really happening, Justin Trudeau would be, bringing this forth. And if that was really happening, and I think this is where, I've always kind of taken the position that you might suggest that the consciousness of our culture is not quote unquote ready, if you will, for these technologies. So what I mean by that is if, for example, there's a technology down in, we'll say the Greater Toronto area, and I've signed the NDA, gone and seen it with multiple people. I was there with a number of South American investors, like owners of massive hotel chains, massive resort chains, massive casino chains down there. They came with their engineers. We're looking at this device. I'm watching it. I'm seeing the latency. I'm seeing the load testing. We're seeing everything. And it's nothing more than utilizing a system of magnets combined with temporarily utilizing almost like an opposing force. Something, I don't want to give it away because I signed an NDA. But it's like something creates an opposing force. It's very clever. It works. It can be set up in series so that you can essentially have tons and tons of power. I was looking at a 2 kilowatt device, so easily run a person's house, no problem. And you're looking at this and you're going, I went back to the car, you cry, because you're like, this is insane, right? You're seeing the scientists, you're seeing the inventors, like once they wrapped their head around it, the scientists particularly, around how it worked, it was like they became children. They were so excited. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But what was happening in that container, which was that company and that energy product, was they wanted to sell it to like PowerStream and some of these, these major, so that now they would major power distributors now wouldn't have to utilize, say, millions of dollars every month to generate the nuclear power or to generate the power from, natural gas and so on and so forth, and then sell it to people. Now their generation costs would be zero because of these devices. And I asked, the guy responsible for setting up a lot of the agreements, and they were trying to get this going. And I'm like, so what are you going to do as the person offering the contract to these companies to make sure that those savings are passed on to the customer? And he said, well, that's not my job. It doesn't matter. I'm like, so wait, they're literally going to have their energy costs, production costs reduced to zero. So now the only cost that company has is, the maintaining the grid, maintaining the network and doing that. So you're going to have a massive amount of their costs, and people are going to save nothing. And it turned into this money, billions of dollars, war, blah, blah, blah. And I said, this is exactly the problem, right? Is people still want to do even what you suggested earlier, which is utilize this same thinking, this same way of being within this system, but with these new technologies. So it gives us more power to do more bad things as opposed to utilizing it to free us, which then leads to the question, how do we get there? Thanks so much for watching this clip. You can listen to this full episode via the link in the description below. It's also available anywhere you currently get your podcasts. If you want to support this podcast and watch this full episode on video, consider becoming a member of our Explorer Lounge. As a member, you get access to exclusive video content. You can watch full episodes just like this, ad-free, and you get access to a private social network where you can discuss and learn about many topics with a like-minded community of changemakers. Being an Explorer Lounge member brings you great benefits, plus you're directly supporting our dedicated team here at Collective Evolution and The Pulse.